Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would just do a little bit of a Black Lives Matter and a check-in, because I think I haven't filmed a video in about 2 weeks, I'm not gonna lie. It's real weird sitting here right now because I have not sat here for a while, and yeah, just want to chat a little bit about Black Lives Matter and what I guess like the past week has been like, and yeah, let's just do this. So I think it goes without saying that Black Lives Matter, I watched maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago the video where this man was out running and then he got shot by these two white guys. There was no real context for the video, and it was just another video of a black person being harmed by white people. And I thought, how long is this going to keep carrying on? But I've watched many videos like that before, sadly. And then obviously the George Floyd video, and George Floyd, may he rest in peace, like seriously. The George Floyd video came out and I didn't watch it for a couple of days because why should I have to be forced? Why should I be subjected to continuously watching black people die? Like, I was just a bit like, I'm kind of done and over this. And then of course it just rippled through the community, it rippled through the world. Black Lives Matter in America decided, to have protests in all the different states and protests against police brutality, and in countries across the world Black Lives Matter took off because people are fighting systematic racism and other types of just prejudice and other types of negative reactions that black people get all over the world. And quite frankly, it was so eye-opening, but it also broke my heart. It broke my heart because there were so many black people speaking out and being in pain all over the world. Speaking out about racism in the places that they have grown up in, the places they have lived, the places that they call home, talking about that racial divide, the racial hate, the racial comments that they get from people, and it really broke my heart. There have been loads of Twitter threads that I've just sat there and just been like, I feel you, I see you, I hear you, and I'm really happy that people are able to speak out and have their voice heard, and it's really important to hear these stories, but it also breaks my heart. And last week was definitely very intense. It was eye-opening. I learned a lot. I am still learning. Like, it has been beautiful, but it has also been wonderful for me to be able to speak out about racism on like my Instagram channel, on Twitter and things like that, and not feel that I'm playing the race card, because actually there's a huge movement behind it now that is dedicated to getting black people to speak up and share their experiences. And then so I kind of want to touch on allyship and talk about the fact that it has also warmed my heart to see so many white people, to see so many Asian people, Chinese people speaking about racism in their communities, in their families, talking to people in their families about it, because that is how we create change. That is how we let other people know that, these things are unacceptable. Loads of racial slurs that are used against black people, Asian people, Chinese people, people just talking about racism in all its forms, I've seen loads of conversations that are talking about like Chinese people and the racism they have against black people. The conversation is happening in so many communities, and it's beautiful and wonderful to see. So quite frankly, I've been blown away. I've seen loads of negative stuff from people just being like, what the hell, and all lives matter and things like that. And I don't even feel like I should explain this, but I get that some people might not get this. They might just lack the comprehension skills. But Black Lives Matter is not about saying that all lives do not matter. All lives do matter, but all lives won't matter until Black Lives Matter. And that is the point. If you do not want to fight the injustice that black people face, and actually you do not care about all lives. I think primarily in the UK, people love to be like, racism doesn't exist in the UK, and it was all in America where they had slaves like that, and a lot of the UK's history with racism and slavery is just like brushed underneath the carpet. But let me tell you now, the British Empire, of course, played a hand in slavery. This very Glasgow that I sit in played a huge hand in slavery. Very fair enough, it also did a lot when it realised, that it was bad. But England, come on, but I can't remember what recently, it was a book that I read that was about like just up in the north of England and just talking about the sort of racial abuse black people would face there. But basically, the British Empire is not running scot-free, and I've seen a lot of the conversation being directed around, well, we don't have that level of police brutality that the US has, and so because we don't have police brutality, black people should shut up. Because people aren't shooting us, we should shut up. That makes literally no fucking sense. Like, yeah, but I shouldn't get wound up by those people, because I think some people are committed to misunderstanding you. Some people are committed to yeah, misunderstanding you, to not wanting to hear about your pain, to tell you that you're playing the race card. And I think in the UK, like, a lot of people were trying to say there was a soldier that was beheaded a couple of years ago, and I know a lot of white people brought him into it, and it was just like, you don't care about him. It's like also the lack of comprehension skills in that. He was killed by 2 extremists, and those extremists were punished and sent to jail, and everyone denounced that. Everyone thought that was despicable. But it's like, in order to fuel their conversation around the fact that, well, you didn't write for him, they have to bring this up. And then I feel like right now a lot of racists are foaming at the mouth, because then his own mother said, keep his name out your mouth. This guy stood for all creeds and colours, sexuality, so keep his name out of your goddamn mouth. And I just feel like the fact that you have to bring other people into it to be like, well, you didn't happen when this happened, you don't care. And I know there's a lot to be said about not focusing your energy there, but I get so annoyed. But then I also get really happy because I see a lot of racists being like, ah, well, we're going to boycott like Ben & Jerry's, we're going to boycott PG Tips and all these tea companies. I just feel like, well, a lot of racists are not going to have a lot of food to eat. They're not going to have a lot of companies to shop in, because all these companies are coming out and saying Black Lives Matter. Now, a lot of this is, quite frankly, bandwagoning, like, you're not going to lie. And there's a lot more work to be done deeper than the whole sort of statement than Black Lives Matter and companies putting out that statement. But quite personally, I think it's a start, and I think it's so important that these conversations are going around. So the other thing I want to touch on is about the conversations going around. So off the back of those statements coming out, Jackie Aina sort of had this hashtag where it's like pull up or shut up, talking about these companies that have, you know, put out their statements about Black Lives Matter, to release the figures of how many black people do you have working in your company, how many Asian people do you have working in your company. You know, tell us how diverse your workforce really is, and then, well, I guess, you know, tell us how you're going to change it, but whatever, those can just be words. And I think it's been brilliant to actually ask people to put those figures there, to actually ask people to confront these things that they're doing. Another sort of conversation that I've seen that I've really enjoyed is called like 9 to 5 or something. I will put like Twitter links and stuff down below. But it is about people working in the UK and their corporate experiences. And this is people in like Walgreens, well, sorry, it's Boots/Walgreens, corporate places, like, oh, it's got a range of corporate places, but it's talking about black people's experiences and things that they have been said to them by their colleagues. And guys, I cannot tell you, working in London, people think like because London has so many diverse people that, you know, it's not a racist place. And I'm not saying London is entirely racist. I think I can't even believe I have to say this, I think in my lifetime I have been called the N-word by someone, and this was when I was a teenager, by some stupid man. You know, that I can actually think of really overt examples of racism. There are loads of microaggressions. And yes, the way that I have to tell you in these corporate settings that I've been in, the amount of like microaggressions or things that people just say and you're just like, why are you saying that? Like, and really in the last couple of years I started to challenge people, not even challenge people, but people will make a comment and feel like, oh yeah, because you're black you must be able to do this. And they won't say that, but the intention is there, and I'll just be like, well, why do you think that? And the way people sit there and stutter, and it's like, I know what you want to say, but now that you're confronted with the fact that you actually have to say that, you realise, one, you can't say that, or maybe you realise also it's bloody stupid. So that Twitter has been really good because it has opened up a conversation of just, oh, the level of microaggressions. You'll be there like, like, can you imagine you're just in a club and this is obviously a different topic with like rappers and the language that they use in music, but Kanye West, Gold Digger, and you're out in a club with like some of your work colleagues. You know, if you weren't there they'd be saying it, but perhaps because you're there they're all black, but other people there are saying it, and loads of other microaggressions. The other final sort of thing I want to touch on, the other final conversation I want to touch on is Publishing Paid Me. Now, if you're perhaps not interested really in the publishing industry, you're just interested in books, you might have not seen this, but there's a hashtag going around called Publishing Paid Me, which is to look at the disparity between black, Asian, minority ethnic groups and their white counterparts and how much they get paid for their advances. And it's a very interesting thing to see. Can't say I'm shocked at the fact that, you know, there are such low advances paid for authors, even authors who have had really good debuts, but their second book get really low advances compared to their white counterparts. Quite frankly, not a lot of white counterparts have actually released those figures, and, you know, I know why. Perhaps also not everyone wants to share about their money, and that's also quite fine, to be honest. But I'm not shocked because this is being replicated in so many industries, in art industry, so many, construction, whatever. This is all being replicated, all these stories are being shared, but I also think the Publishing Paid Me one is a very interesting one, so I will also like leave just that hashtag, I suppose, and you can type it into Twitter and you can see. But essentially, there are so many conversations happening and I'm happy to see it. Like, I'm here to see it because these conversations need to be had, and I feel like black people, minority groups need to feel supported in the fact that they're able to have these conversations. I think a lot of time when conversations are centered around race, and I think, I haven't read this book yet, but I've seen snippets from it. It's in the book Minor Feelings by Kathy someone. A lot of the time these conversations are centered around, it always feels like the onus is on the person experiencing the racial like sort of transgressions and things like that to really fight and explain why that was racist, rather than other people understanding that that is racist and not feeling that they have to defend it or anything like that. And I think the conversation really needs to shift from that so that people really can speak out, and I think that's basically where it's going. There are so many like resources out there for being an ally and all those sorts of things. I see so many people going to protests and it's beautiful. I actually haven't been to any protests because, quite frankly, I'm still worried about coronavirus, but I've been donating. I say I've been donating, me and my boyfriend have been donating. I'm not even working at the moment, and we have, and I just feel like it is important in these times that you speak up. I think I see so many people on my Twitter, my Facebook, not my Facebook, sorry, I don't really use Facebook, my Instagram, and even here on BookTube, not saying anything at all, and I think that speaks volumes. Your silent, like all the little tags that are going around, your silence is violence. I think if you're here on BookTube and you're not using your platform to speak about it, and I'm not saying you have to dedicate a whole video to it, the fact that you don't even mention it, that this huge thing is going on in the world and you don't even mention it, you live in America and you don't mention it, that speaks volumes. So I have also been doing a little bit of unfollowing here and there because, quite frankly, those are not the kind of people I want to associate myself with. I don't think if you're burying your head in the sand in such a time as this that actually I should be following you. So that is kind of my Black Lives Matter thing. I will also leave a video by Books by Lainez, I want to say. She talks about being black on YouTube and just like her sort of experiences. And yeah, I guess she also calls for other creators to use their channel. Me personally, like I said, silence is violence, but also I take your silence as you don't care, and quite frankly I would like you to not, if you don't care, I now know that you don't care, and I can happily unfollow you and go about my day and think no two ways about it because you think no two ways about racism. So it's all good for me, but you know, I do see some people calling on other booktubers to speak out about it. I feel in two ways about that, but everyone's entitled to use their channel as they wish. But yes, I will leave Lainez's channel down below so you can actually watch her video. And yeah, I think that's sort of, I say that's my last sort of thing about it. I just wanted to check in and be like, I haven't been making many videos recently because last week I was just so caught up in Black Lives Matter. I have plans to make a couple more videos. I've just been kind of bored of the content I've been putting out, if I'm honest with you. And this happened before Black Lives Matter. So then last week I just got caught up and I haven't been making as many videos. I picked up a book yesterday by Agatha Christie. It's called And Then There Were None. And I just want to explain to you how perhaps as well, even in reading, as a black person, you can't even get away from the fucking racism. Because I go to Goodreads to input it into my sort of, this is what I'm reading, and then it says original title, and I'm just going to put it up on the screen because I'm tired of actually saying that word now on my channel. I said it a couple of times and I don't believe in the sense of reclaiming it, and I don't believe now really in this way, in this sort of time what's happening, in saying it. I don't want to ever give anyone the incentive that they can say that, like, you know, if you are not black, do not say that word, like, I just, you know, but I'm going to leave the title on the screen. I just think, even as a black person, when I pick up a piece of literature, I cannot escape the racism. I cannot escape the sort of negative attitude towards black people. And I just think, I'm reading this book anyway, and I'm thinking, why the fuck is this book, was this book even called that? Like, but anyway, I've said in a couple of videos that it's kind of well known that Agatha Christie was a bit of a racist. I say a racist, so there's that. But yes, I just wanted to jump in on here and just talk about the fact that I haven't actually been making videos, but there are a couple of videos coming from me. I am also, of course, writing my dissertation. I haven't given that the full sort of attention and capacity it needs, so I am also kind of busy with that. There are other things in my life that I'm trying to get off the ground, and yeah, your girl's a bit busy, but there are more booktube videos coming. But anyway, I wanted to end this on talking about coronavirus because I feel, yeah, coronavirus has been not really pushed to the back of anything. I think Scotland actually reported no new coronavirus deaths. I think this was on the Sunday, on the Monday the news was coming up. It was the Sunday evening news, I feel like it was. What is the situation with coronavirus where you live? Are you guys still quarantined? Like, just tell me, like, have death rates dropped? I was super stunned to find out that the UK is behind the US I say super stunned. No, I am stunned, because I feel like those people are like, well, we shouldn't be, but I am stunned, because the UK sat there and slandered Italy, like it was all over our newspapers and stuff like that, about their rising death tolls and how it was spreading so fast. We stood there and watched other countries suffer with coronavirus, and we didn't learn from it. Like, you know, we went into, like, other businesses were implementing coronavirus measures before the government even stepped in to do that, or before the government stepped in to lock it down. We are still in a lockdown in Scotland, and I think it's been slightly eased in the UK. It has been slightly eased in Scotland too, but it's not still business as usual. I have heard that pubs and bookshops are opening on the 15th of June, and I'm like, why? But capitalism, I suppose. And yeah, just let me know what coronavirus is like in where you are. And yeah, lastly, I hope you're all doing really well. I hope your reading's going really well. I hope your mental health is going well. I hope your physical health is well. I tell you now, I've not been exercising and walking as I should. But just generally, how are you? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'll catch you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this.